right, you guys, what's going on? It's your boy Town. All right, so we going green for the screen, you know. So, all right, so I've looked at the transcripts. I've looked at other people's commentary. So I did my, due diligence. Now, I'm not really following this case, but I got my eyes open to it. And so far, listening to the testimony of Cassie is exactly what I thought it was. I gotta say this about me. I can't speak for anybody else. I just know that a lot of these content creators out here are doing too much caping and capping and pandering and simping. That's one thing that I just cannot bring myself to do. One thing about me, I go in on everybody. If a dude is on some BS, I go in on him. If a woman on some BS, I go in on her. But this thing with Cassie, I just think to a certain degree that Cassie is full of shit. And all this stuff about that Diddy took advantage of her and all this kind of stuff. Well, it was revealed that she was a willing participant in those freak-offs. Or let's just call them what they really are, orgies. That's pretty much what they are. They just changed the definition of them. They call it freak-offs. They just came up with a new word for them to make it seem like it's more horrific than what it really is. And as far as this stuff about Diddy and what was revealed in Cassie's testimony, this isn't not being up to normal. P. Diddy has just been revealed to be a nasty motherfucker, but let's not make it look like fetishes don't exist. A lot of people have weird sexual fetishes, and let's not try to act like this thing with Diddy is something new. There was a show that was on Showtime, I think, many years ago about male escorts, gigolos, whatever you want to call them. And there was dudes on there that got off on watching a wife be with other dudes. So can we please stop it with like Diddy invented this kind of stuff? That's what make me sick about media. They try to micro enhance and sensationalize stuff that's been going on forever. Does it sound weird? Absolutely. But did it start with Diddy? Absolutely not. So for people to try to act like this stuff started with Diddy, that's where I have to call bullshit. And just be like, some of y'all is just too fake, man. Cassie admitted out of her own mouth that she was, worried about Diddy bringing somebody else in to these orgies, because that's pretty much what they are. I'm just gonna say the real word, orgy. Now, I can distinguish the domestic violence between what Diddy is being charged with. And so far, I haven't heard anything about Diddy technically breaking the law. Because one, he is not on trial for domestic violence. I'm just telling the truth. See, I know how to distinguish things. Now, should he been doing that stuff? No. But then as far as this whole thing about he took advantage and Cassie couldn't leave, Cassie could have left whenever she wanted to. And I'm going to tell you something. It goes into this whole thing about women liking bad boys and the whole they don't like normal men or good men thing. They like dudes that have what you would so-called have some kind of reputation. See, we don't really want to have these type of conversations. So, you know, I've been listening to a lot of videos where a lot of dudes been pandering and just making it look like, oh, poor Cassie and all this kind of stuff. Cassie like doing the and she admitted it. If you have regular people that you deal with, as far as having a service, a escort service, or what, or you know, male prostitute service, then that mean you like it. If you're using a certain guy and all this kind of stuff, certain type of guys, yeah, you're a willing participant. She liked the lifestyle. She liked the money and the power, and that's why she stayed so long. You can't sit up there and say this man is just this horrific animal that you making him out to be, but at the same time you admitted that you was into, you know, into the stuff that he introduced you to. A lot of people just don't like to hear the truth. And I'm not trying to attack nobody, but I'm not doing the pandering thing. She wasn't that much of a victim. As far as the ass whoopers go, yeah. But once again, she sued before the feds got involved. Okay? And then as far as those tapes go of the beating being released, you have to wonder, how did those tapes make it to the internet? Were they illegally leaked? Because if these tapes happen in California, they have laws against that kind of stuff. Just like in California, I'll say this again. It is against the law in California to record somebody without their legal, punishable by, you know, being legally, you know, prosecuted. I'm a native of California, born and raised here, so I know some of the laws out here. But all this stuff, oh, poor Cassie, nah, you're not gonna get that from me. I haven't heard one thing that's been presented to me that was against the law. Now, like I said, does Puff have what you would call an abnormal fetish? Yeah. But is this something new? No. And you know, because of YouTube, I can't get extremely graphic. I can't get extremely graphic. But let's not pretend like this is something that hasn't been going on forever. That was like Tom Cruise made a movie about this called Eyes Wide Shut, one of Stanley Kubrick's last films before he passed away. So, me, myself, I'm just speaking my truth and what I see. You can't sit up there and act as if you were forced to do all this stuff when you just as much was a willing participant. So therefore, how could you have been sexually assaulted when you were a willing participant? I know since the internet stage then began, or should I say within the last few years, they've been trying to rewrite things, reword things, and that's all that they're doing. I don't see nobody that Puffy just took advantage of to the extreme. There were some things she just was into. So I don't know why people are sitting up here trying to act like this is like something new, like this stuff got it. And that's what make me mad, and this is what pisses me off. Because when it pertains to these type of things, They try to ask if this stuff started with black men or that Puffy invented this kind of stuff. Okay? Don't you remember the what's that lady's name? The madam lady, the Heidi lady? So like I said, this kind of stuff been going on for a while. And a lot of times what they do is they cater to what your fetish is. I mean, they had a show that came on HBO, if I'm not mistaken, called The Bunny House. Okay. The dude, what's that dude's name? Dennis Hoff? Okay. He owned the Bunny Ranch. He was pretty much a pimp. But people looked at him like he was some kind of icon or something. But then they had an issue with you know, dudes like Kenny Red and Bishop Don Juan calling them pimps. Well, Dennis Hoff was a pimp. Like I said, they like to change the narrative. This stuff been going on with years with celebrities and stuff. But the problem that I have, they're micro enhancing this and making it look like this just started with Diddy. And by no stretch of the imagination that I'm defending Diddy or his actions, because I do believe that he may have possibly had something to do with what happened to Albie Shore, what possibly happened with Kim Porter, and then the Kid Cudi thing. But he's not on trial for that. I haven't seen or heard anything that's been did that's illegal. And that's all. And that's what I'm saying. So all this stuff about she was 19 and he took advantage. Okay, let me ask y'all this. This is just real talk. Technically, after 18, or in particular 19, let's just keep it a buck. With guns, you rob a bank, you lay people down, you steal millions of dollars. And if you are apprehended by law enforcement, are you trialed as an adult or as a child? Do you think they are gonna listen to you if you say, hey, I'm only 19? You know what they gonna say? You're an adult. You knew what you were doing. To a certain degree, we can't use age always as an excuse. Yes, you evolve as you get older. But my thing is, don't women mature quicker than men? That's all I'm saying. That's what they told us. That's what we've been made to believe. But then based off what I see on the internet, in particular, women, that may not be true. Okay? We sitting up here right before our eyes trying to see them watch a 17 in danger, and he defended himself. They trying to say he was coherent of what he did, so shouldn't Cassie have been coherent? Last time I heard, Cassie don't have no kind of disability. She isn't, autistic. See, the thing about me, I'm calling it how I see it. And, Cassie, she got shredded to a certain degree by the defense team. And now people are looking at like, okay, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna hit you with something else that's real. If they offer Diddy a plea deal, and this is just real talk, if they offer Diddy a plea deal, y'all gotta excuse me, I'm trying to watch the road and talk at the same time. So if they offer Diddy a plea deal, that usually means this is a gamble on the prosecution, that they may or may not win this case. And from what I heard, he was only offered about 5 years. Because if they had an ironclad case, they would be like, nah, the best deal we gonna offer you is 15 years. But they offered him 5 years, allegedly. So even this prosecution believed that there's a chance that they may not win this case. Now, if Diddy is acquitted of this, he gonna go down in history as one of the very few dudes that beat the feds. I'm gonna say this again. I'm not a supporter of Diddy, but I am calling this right down the middle how I see it. I just do not believe that Cassie is just this, you know what I'm saying, somebody just perpetrated perpetrated horrendous things against her. A lot of times women like this kind of stuff. They are turned on by this type of stuff. My thing is, if he strikes you once, says he's sorry, then you come back, then it's shame on that dude if he tries to fix himself. But then if he strikes you a second and a third time and you continue to stay, then all of a sudden you have to set your sights on the person that maybe you like this kind of stuff. Same thing with these men that complain about women mistreating them, their wife cheating on them, they didn't caught their wife cheating on them and mistreating